How are we doing today? Great to see you. We are streaming today on multiple platforms. And so welcome to you. I'm glad you are here. If you are with us, you are someone who cares a lot about policy. You care about being healthy. You might care about behavioral health. You might care about mental health. And gosh, are we glad you're here. You are in the right place because we talk about all of those things. And today I want to make a special thank you to Nancy and Lisa, who always catch the replay, even if they can't be here live. So remember, if you come and join us and you can't be here live, put replay in the chat. And if you have any questions or concerns, please list them there and we will reach out to you because we make sure that every question that is asked in our group gets answered. And I also want to make a special thank you today to Jason, who keeps continually adding and inviting new people to join us. And that's the best way you can say thank you and for appreciating this group is to invite your friends. So if you know people that should be here that are not, that are advocates, that care about health and policy like you do, please invite them to join our group because we'd love to have them here. Today, we have a really exciting topic to talk about. We're going to talk about creating a message that resonates. And I have a tool to share with you so that you can see what that could look like for you. Because I don't know about you, but are you sick and tired of having a meeting or getting together with people and walking away feeling like nobody listened to you, like they didn't hear you, that they didn't understand what you were trying to say? I hate that. Or what about this? What about going to a meeting and you know you have something to ask for, you're asking for something important, and then the time runs out, you forget to make your ask, and you walk away just beating yourself up going, oh my gosh, how did I not use that time more wisely? Well, today we're going to give you a 6-step process to make a killer message. And so we're excited that you're here. I'm Renee Schulte, and this is my group. Welcome. I'm a therapist by trade. I'm a recovering politician, which is amazing because yet tomorrow's election day and I'm not on the ballot. And I'm a reformed workaholic, used to work too much. Now I talk about balancing life and work and play and all of those things. And so that's where healthy policies comes from. It's all about working really hard to do great things, but also doing great things so that you have time with your family and your friends and with the people that matter, and to make your life a whole life and not just about work. And so I had to get to this point through a crash and burn, and I don't want that for you. So we're here to talk about how to make good quality policy. Hey, Holly, I see that you're here. Welcome with us today. It's our first time. Say hi to Holly, everybody. And Tanya, oh my gosh, I'm so excited you're here too. Thanks so much, Tanya. I know you always try to grab us live when you can. That means so much to me. So today we're going to talk about how to create that message so other people listen to us. So say 6 steps in the chat if you're here. If you're here, say 6 steps. 6 steps. And we're going to talk about all 6 of those. But I want to start out with a story. If you've gotten to the point, we talked about it a while ago, where maybe you needed to have that really important meeting with a lobbyist, a legislator, a city councilman, your boss, and you get all worked up and you get in there and you just completely forget what you're supposed to say. That ever happened to you? Or maybe you need a raise, right? And you want to go into the boss and you get in there and then you get distracted talking about the weather and their kids. And then you just walk out defeated because you didn't even make the ask, right? Or maybe you've got this dispute going on next door with the neighbor and they're on your property line and all of this stuff's going on and you need to talk to the city manager, city council, and you just don't even know what to say, right? Or something's going on at school with your kids and they're getting picked on or something, and you need to talk to the teacher, to the principal. Well, today we're going to give you enough of a framework so that you can start making a message that really resonates with people so you don't have to feel unheard. Because every time you go to one of those meetings, sometimes, I don't know, but I've left going, are they even paying any attention? Did they hear anything I had to say? Or maybe they even tried to like brush you off or ignore you, right? Isn't that the worst? You don't want to feel like that. Or like in my case, I've gotten those important meetings and then I've like totally forgot to make the ask that I needed to make. I just didn't even ask the question. I got busy, distracted, sidetracked, and the time ended and I didn't even say what I needed. Well, that's not what we need to do, right? We need to make a plan and have a 6-step process. So I'm going to share my screen and so that we can show you what it looks like to have these 6 steps. Now, these are going to look pretty easy. If everybody can see the steps, would you put a thumbs up in the chat so I can see that you're here? Because I would love to know that you are here and that you can see my screen because I always have technical difficulties. I don't know about y'all, but me and technology don't always get along. Maybe that's just a secret I'm not supposed to tell you, but I'm telling you what. Just last week alone, can I just tell you my tech issues? So last week I was in Florida for Monday. Tuesday, I was in Iowa. Wednesday, I was in Boulder, Colorado. That's 3 different time zones in 3 different days. And then we had a time change in the central time zone on Saturday. And I don't even know what time it is today. So the fact that I got here at a time is impressive to me because boy, my body doesn't know what day it is. So I'm glad to see that the slides are up. Thank you, Holly, for letting me know. So this is the 6 steps for this effective message. Now, you may need more help in this. And if you do, that's great. Just say so in the chat and we'll be happy to reach out. Holly and I are going to be reaching out to people that need any help because sometimes there's a little bit of a nuance in this, but I just want to walk you through the basics of an effective message. So the first thing you want to do, step 1, is you want to have an opening statement that resonates with the person. So hopefully by the time you've gotten a meeting with someone, you know a little bit about them. You've done a little homework, if you will. Maybe their kids go to school with your kids or grandkids. Maybe you're a constituent of theirs and you live in their district, right? You've done a little homework, so there's a connection there. And you want to open with that. You want to be pleasant. You want to be opening. You want to make sure that they know why you're coming to see them, right? So make it brief, opening arrangement. So like maybe your brother's a good friend with their wife or whatever it is, right? But you want to make that personal connection first. Then second, you want to lay out the problem. Now in this space, you have to be succinct, but you need to be specific. What is the issue you're trying to address? So if you're with your boss and you need a raise, right? You want to lay that out. Maybe you want to tell them that you have only gotten 1 or 2% raises when the new people coming in are getting paid 10% more on the new hires than what you have been as an existing employee. And so it's not really any incentive for you to stay as an existing employee if they're going to make so much more than you are, right? So you want to lay that out. And that ties to number 3, providing that facts and that data. So can you show really that the new hires coming in are coming in at a higher bracket than you are, and so that you're never going to make as much as the new hires? You'd want to say that and show that that's not fair. Or you might want to show that maybe you have a job offer from another location and that you can show that, you know, if I move, I can get better treated someplace else. Or let's talk about a policy. So maybe you're talking about something in mental health, and we all know that prevention costs less than the issue at the end, right? But politicians don't really want to pay for prevention a lot of times. They wait till there's a big problem and pay more at the end. Well, if you know that treating whatever the issue is, say dyslexia, costs this much in school, but you know that if you don't treat it in the workplace, it costs this, showing that and laying that out in a way that makes sense is number 2 and number 3. Just present the problem and then give them the facts and the data that they need to see that it's a problem. We often recommend that this is a 1-pager, not a book, not pages and pages and pages of some report, but 1 page where you can put the facts on 1 page, 1 side, 1 page, so that people can take that with them. For those that don't know, when you're in a part-time legislature like I was in, my entire space was my desk and a tiny little desk next to me where my clerk sat. There were 2 drawers in that desk and a file stacker on top. That was my entire storage. So when you bring us things that are humongous, it's going into the recycling bin before you know it, because we have no space for any of those things. We don't have offices off the floor. That's not a thing. So being respectful of people's space is really, really important. That's an inside tip for some of you that might not know. Sometimes you think bringing more is better, right? All the documents, all the data. Nope, they don't need that. If they need that, they will ask that of you. And so then you can bring that on a follow-up appointment, which is another point. Now, to point number 4. This is where you give a story or show an example of the problem, right? And this is where you want to tell them, why should it matter to them, right? You already know who they are. You already have a connection point, but you want to say, why does this matter? Why should you care? Like, why should that person connect, right? Why does it matter to them? So tell your story. Now, I'm going to give you a caution here. Some people tell their story when it's too raw. The problem is too fresh. They have not healed, and they end up bleeding all over other ones. Just like thinking about if you got hurt in an accident, right? It's not scabbed over yet. It's not really healed, and you're just bleeding on people. That is not a good place to tell a story from. You have to be healed enough to be able to get through the story. There can be some emotion in your voice. There's nothing wrong with that, but you can't just lose it on other people. Oftentimes that makes people uncomfortable and they pull back, and then they're not going to want to really speak to you again because they don't know what to do with all those feelings. Right or wrong, we can judge that and say, that's not cool. We really should be able to handle people's feelings. And you're right, we should, but not everybody can. And when you're in a tight time frame, like standing, say, at the Capitol building, and you're coming to talk to a legislator, crying and dumping all over them is not the right place for that. So if you're not healed enough to tell that story, pick a different one. Pick one that's been healed a little bit so that you can still have emotion in your story, but not bleed on others. That is an insider tip also, because you just don't want for people to feel uncomfortable, because the goal is you want them to want to see you again. You want them to see you as a resource, that's somebody they can come and ask questions to. So you want to build that relationship. It's really important. And then number 5 goes back to number 4. That story should tie in to what they care about, right? So what matters to them? Now, I know you probably have heard this before, but that acronym is out there, WIIFM. It's our favorite radio station. It means what's in it for me. My favorite radio station and yours, WIIFM. What's in it for us? And when you're talking to somebody in a place of power or influence, they're going to want to know what's in it for them. So how do they connect that to what it's about? So if you know that there are 300 other dyslexic children in a school district that they represent, they're going to be interested in what you have to talk about regarding dyslexia, because it's not just about you. And it's not that they don't want to help you, but they also need to see the value it brings to others. And if you know there's X number of students across X number of districts, that's even a bigger impact, right? So you have to think about, how does this tie into them? Why should they care about this? Why should they try to help? And sometimes we forget that piece, but what's in it for me always applies. So making sure you know what's in it for that person, and so that they get something out of it too, because they want to help you, but they need to know how. And that's where number 6 comes in. Now let's start from the top. Before I get to number 6, we're going to create that opening statement that resonates. You're going to make a connection. You're going to present the problem. You're going to provide the facts and data briefly, 1 page. You're going to share a story that's real, but not overly raw. You're going to connect it to the other person. And then number 6, and this is the most important part, make your ask. What would you like them to do to help you? When you come in front of a person that's elected, they don't know the answer to that question unless you tell them. Unless they've had the exact same life story you have, which is almost never, they're not going to know the life you've lived, and they won't know the challenges you've faced. Most people in elected office at every level think they have laws in place that should work to help you with your problem, because that's why they pass them. They really think they should work. Now, the reality is, on the ground, you and I know what we get passed up here in theory doesn't always apply at the ground, right? And that's a mess, because we think those two things should connect, and they don't always, right? People think about recently, the Congress passed this for that big law to reimburse people for their school loans, as an example. And, Congress did this or that, and the president did this or that for that, and that should be happening. Well, then judges got involved and put a stay on it, so it's not really moving. And then other people put in a lawsuit against it, so then it got stuck and all of this. So people heard, hey, I should be getting loan repayment, right? But on the ground, no loans are getting repaid. That's reality. And so that happens all the time in policy. So you've got to tell the person, when you make your ask, what would I suggest to solve it? Now, this is for future trainings, but that doesn't mean they're going to take your exact answer and your exact solution. And that may not be the final piece. That may not be the way it looks in the end, but it gives them something to start with. So on that 1 pager we talked about earlier, you have your problem, you have your data, you have your proposed solution. And that way, when you give it to them, and your contact information needs to be on that 1 page, so that when they look at that again, they're like, oh, I need to go call Renee. She knows, she has this question, and maybe I can help her. Here's her phone number. It's all on 1 sheet, so they don't lose it. It doesn't get displaced, and it makes it really easy for them to help. So when you're thinking about your message today, those 6 steps will be really, really impactful, because if you would like to have this tool, just put the 6 steps tool in the chat. We'd love to give this tool to you so that you could walk through it yourself. It's a really basic, simple tool, but it helps you remember the 6 most important pieces. And if you can, I dropped the Zoom link in the chat. I would love for you to come on back with me. If you are able to, we'd love to have you back here so you can come and chat with me after. I'm going to drop it in the chat one more time. And so if you want to come to Q&A, we'd love to see you in the back and answer any questions that you might have about creating a message. Because I know there's more to creating a message than just 6 steps. I know that. But these are the 6 steps that get you heard, and people will remember who you are. And you want them to remember you because you want to be a resource for them so that they can come back and see you again on the next time. So join us again next week as we're going to talk about another tool. Next week, we're going to talk about leadership. And we're going to identify your leadership style and help you make a plan on how you use your leadership style to really bring in that message and know exactly how to do it based on your style. We'll see you then. Have a great day, everybody.